Hello and welcome to VistaTalks, interesting discussions with interesting people from all around the world. I'm your host for today, Simon Hodgkins, and it's a real pleasure, and I'm happy to introduce to you Neda Alipur. Neda is a PhD candidate in electrical engineering at TU Dublin, but she's focusing on image processing and AI skin tone representation. We're going to find out all about this. Neda, you're very welcome to the show today.
Hi to everyone. Thank you for inviting me. And it's my pleasure to share with you and your audience my researches. Thank you so much.
I'm really interested in getting into this research. AI is probably the hottest topic on the planet at the moment. Yeah. And what you're doing as part of your research around image processing and AI skin tone representation is going to be fascinating. But before we get into that, Neda, let's maybe begin with your journey into this research, into this field. What inspired you to take up electrical engineering, and how did you actually end up focusing on AI and skin tone representation for your PhD research?
Yes. If you let me, that I will start from my bachelor degree, and I started up my journey in bachelor degree in biomedical engineering, focusing on bioelectric. And after that, I switched to electrical engineering. I thought that maybe working with circuits might be a good fit. But a smart and trustworthy friend of mine suggested me to go for image processing. And I did it, and it changed everything for me. And I'm so happy for that. And in my master's degree, I started working on image forgery detection. For example, you edit photos, and for example, you put the head of someone and put on someone else's head, someone else's body, or maybe you add the objects. It was my first hands-on experience with working AI. And after that, I published another paper related to flower image classification that I did it during COVID lockdown pandemic. And after that, in 2021, I got accepted PhD in Ireland, in TU Dublin. And my supervisor, Dr. Jane Courtney, she shared with me some project topics, and I picked this one related to skin color representation. Once I started, I got more and more interested, and now I feel really happy and proud of the path that I've taken. It's been my journey.
Well, it's a great journey. Congratulations. Yes. And you're in a fascinating area right now.
Yes.
AI, as I said, it's taken the world by storm, and it seems to just keep getting faster and faster and better. Now, you're working on some truly cutting edge image processing tech, right? Yeah. Could you take a moment and just help us understand your research, explain your research to us, maybe use simple terms for me and for others listening, and why, the key question is why improving skin tone representation in AI is crucial, Neda?
Yes, exactly. The problem is that these days, it was found that AI-powered applications, they have bias and underperformance against darker skin people. And so, for example, in medical applications, if they don't work well equally for all of people with different backgrounds, so it will end up a problem with them and serious problem with, especially for Black communities. And the thing is that AI applications, they are not neutral by nature. They just reflect the data sets that's used for training them. So we need to start from scratch to see what's going on in data sets. Is there any underrepresentation against darker skin people? So if there is this problem, we need to solve this problem before feeding them to AI models. And skin color is important because it's used for face detection applications, counting the number of people, for content management, and also in medical applications like skin cancer detection. For example, people used to use a skin biopsy. It was invasive method to identify the reason of a skin problem. But now using non-invasive methods, for example, physical devices like a spectrophotometer or computer-based methods, it has been easier and more accurate. And also it was physical tools like Munsell charts for classification of skin color, that it has some colors on the chart, and you compare visually your skin color with the colors on the chart. And you should find the closest match. But as we are working with a huge number of images in data set, we need something more faster and accurate. So that's why we need a computer-based method, but we should make sure that they are fair and they don't have any problem and underperformance against any special groups of people. But for doing that, we need to make sure about the balanced data sets that we are using them for training models. So it's a thing that we should pay attention and solve it before using AI.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And the issue of bias in AI, we hear a lot about it, don't we, at the moment? And
Yeah,
I think it's been increasingly globally recognized that this bias
yeah,
is causing issues
yeah,
because of the underlying data sets, because of the lack of training data for certain
yeah,
categories and regions and languages and cultures.
yeah.
So how do inaccurate skin tone annotations, all these imbalanced data sets that we're talking about, how do they actually impact fairness and reliability, particularly with these computer vision systems that you were kind of touching on there?
Yes. Well, first we need to know that why we have imbalanced data set. Honestly, in some countries, in for example, in African countries, uh, people, because of financial issues or some policies that has been made by some governments, they are they cannot even go to clinics or hospitals for their problems, and healthcare centers are not available that much to them. So it will lead to wrong assumption that they are not affected by some certain conditions, but they are ignored, but they have this problem, but they are ignored. And so it cause not having enough information and data or images from them in our data sets. That's why we have imbalanced data sets. But what is the impact? For example, if we take beauty AI as an example, that it was a contest that entirely judged by AI to choose the most beautiful one in contest. And over 6,000 people from 100 countries, they took part in this event to see how AI judged for choosing the most beautiful one. And the criteria was like facial symmetry or wrinkles or age, estimated age. But out of 44 winners, almost all of them were light. Just one person was darker skin type. And it feels like AI ignored and excluded all of them. While many people from African countries and India, they took part in this event. And also even in fashion industry, there are not that much options for them for clothing or choosing a suitable color for them. And so, but it's not just about beauty or fashion. Even, for example, in medical area, like medical wearable health devices, like that it tracks sleep or activity, and also in other devices like pulse oximeters, that they measure the level of oxygen in your blood. And but it doesn't work well for darker skin people because they have higher level of melanin, and so it will absorb the lightness and it will lead up less in reflection. So that's why we cannot measure very well the level of oxygen. And but Apple Watch, it works better because they have algorithm to adjust the readings based on skin color. So we need a module for skin color detection before running the main test, in a way to, based on the detected color, adjust to suitable lightness. For example, for deeper red or infrared, in a way to have fair AI technology for all of them.
Yeah, fascinating what you're
Yeah,
talking about there with the sort of health tech, right? The way
yeah,
they measure various functions and readings, and how skin tone impacts that, right?
Yeah,
And great to see that the Apple Watch is making some progress there, but ultimately we're back to that story of the underlying data. And
yeah,
I wanted to ask you that, because the data, it's such a complex part of the AI development, right?
yeah,
You must see, you mentioned some challenges there, for example, with devices, smartwatches, etc. But you must see some big challenges, or you've encountered some, when it comes to just labeling and
yes,
classifying skin tones accurately and maybe
yeah,
ethically too.
yeah,
Is that right, Neda? What are you seeing
yes.
there?
Yes, for example, we had the problem in our research. We had started working with the skin lesion image data set that it had almost 1,000 and something images, skin lesion images. But the problem is that because of lighting variation, uh, our technology got confused because we just see images, but in images, because of lighting variation, maybe they seem lighter or darker than what they are actually. And when we generate results, there was a big gap between our results and the label made by dermatologists, because they see people in person in face-to-face meeting, but we are just seeing the images that is different from the true skin color. It's a big problem that that lead the computer-based method gets confused. And the other thing that I didn't do that, but in other research, is that people, not necessarily expert people, but they were asked to label images or people and classify their skin color. But the thing is that when people want to label images based on skin color, because of cultural and geographical background, maybe they have misconception about skin color. They label people in different way or maybe wrong way because of their misconception or personal background. So these are the things that we need to consider for measuring skin color or classification of the skin color. That is, especially that lighting variation is a big challenge.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge, and
Yeah,
great that your research is really getting to the heart of this. Now,
yeah,
I know that your work, it's going to bridge both technical innovation and social responsibility, right? So,
yeah,
how do you see, or what is your hope for your research in that it contributes more to a more, let's say, inclusive AI system, a
yeah,
more inclusive AI process for industries, whether that's healthcare that we've touched on, surveillance,
yeah,
people have lots of views on that, beauty tech that you
yeah.
mentioned, or other disciplines. What's your hope for this sort of research?
Yes, as I said, that we need to start from scratch from data sets. So we decided to create a data set that it's kind of new and it hasn't been done before. That first of all, we take picture of a skin patch and as much as possible different skin colors with no underrepresentation against especially darker skin people, and under different lighting condition with and well documented and complete and reliable information. That, for example, we measure lightness when we are taking picture, and we clear everything that under which lighting condition we are taking picture. And also we label images instead of using fixed values as skin color spectrum. We measure skin color using continuous values. And this data set can be as a new standard for other researchers later to use it. For example, to check that if there are AI models working well under across different skin colors or no, or if their model fail under which lighting condition or with which specific skin color. So it's a thing that we are hoping to create as soon as possible, and it can be used later for other researchers for training their skin color measurements or for checking their AI models before deploying them commercially.
Yeah, it sounds like on one hand, it sounds like something we have to have. On the other hand, it sounds like a huge amount of work. And that continualization of it, that seems to be a key component, is it, Neda?
Yeah, yeah. that yes, we need to solve this problem to make sure that it's that AI technology work well for everyone with different backgrounds.
Very good. Now, I know in the research area, collaboration is important too, right?
Yes,
And you mentioned some other work a few moments ago.
yeah.
Are you working with other institutions, companies? Have you got like multiple teams across various disciplines? And does that shape your approach to this research, Neda?
Yes, exactly. Honestly, I had research collaboration with other professor researchers, but for working with institutions or companies at the moment, no. But I had, because I'm just focusing on my PhD so far, but I had a short time internship, 3 months internship in a local small company in Dublin. It was called Shorewash, that they focus on hand hygiene for schools and hospitals, and they detected hand movement and to score your based on have hand movement detection, they score that if your hands are clean or no. And they just focus on movement detection rather than skin color. But I hope in the future that I get the chance to work with institutions or collaboration with companies in this regard, in this area. And but yes, why not? Because these partnerships can turn my research into real world impact.
Yeah, yeah, very good, very good. And so, if we have a goal, which I know you do, of addressing this, I suppose what we've been talking about, this cultural gap, this geographic diversity, this lack of information in the training data and the data sets,
Yeah.
are there sort of some global perspectives that are still missing here? Are there some
Yeah.
major challenges in the way that we're training these AI models
Yeah.
and LLMs?
Yes, honestly, in my research, I'm trying to not only consider all of the skin colors, but also different geographical locations. And but unfortunately, in existing public data sets, most of images relate to people in Europe or North South America, and African people, Indians, or even people from Middle East countries, they are kind of ignored. So we have a long way to go in terms of global diversity. And even, for example, I can give an example that when people are using social media, they prefer to use when they use emojis, they prefer to use the skin color similar to their own skin color. So it's the thing that deserve attention. So we should consider all of these things in terms of skin color, ethnicity, geographical in our data set in a way that all of people benefit from AI.
Yeah, and I suppose as the planet becomes further and further connected and more communities get access to AI tools and the barrier to entry continues to lower,
Yeah.
people are experimenting all the time with AI, right? There's an
Yes,
awful
exactly.
lot of trial and error going on. And even back to the simplest social media days of the emoji
Yeah.
colors, it's all kind of related, isn't it? But it seems to keep coming back to this data. So as you look ahead with your research, if you were to look ahead, you obviously have some hopes for your research. I'd love to hear what they are, but also the development of AI technology seems to need to change in terms of this data training. And
Yeah.
what changes would you like to see, Neda, in how systems are designed and maybe deployed globally? Because there seems to be some big
Ye-
gaps here.
Yes, exactly. Honestly, with my research, I hope to help to raise awareness about fairness in AI, and I try to do something to fix this problem, especially with creating this data set. We will set a new benchmark or a standard for other researchers to consider later to replicate it or make another data set based on these rules and standard. And they shouldn't just consider accuracy for developing models. They also should consider fairness, and it should be work well equally for all of people with different background. And I hope in this regard we can solve this problem and all of people with different background, and they can benefit from AI equally. I hope so.
That's a great point to end on, Neda. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's been a pleasure to shed some light on this very important topic in this world of AI that we're all living in today. It
Yeah.
seems like such a massive miss in terms of data sets.
Exactly.
And hopefully your research and others contributing to this space will help to make it a better AI future for everybody.
I hope so. I hope so.
That'd be great.
Yes.
That would be great. So look, that brings us to the end of today's show, unfortunately, with Neda Alipur. Please make sure that you join in again to catch up with the latest VistaTalks episodes, where we'll be discussing some more interesting topics with interesting people, just like Neda. But Neda, thanks so much for being on the show. It's been great to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. I wish the best for you and your audience.
Thank you.